Okay, so good morning and thank you for joining me on my live stream. And I have some really interesting stuff to go over with you since the trial last night. Sorry, I've got this large sweater on because it's really cold up in my office. There's a huge storm blowing in or something, so excuse the appearance. It's so after I woke up this morning, there were a couple things that I was really interested in watching. And one of them was the interview that was done on the Drunk Turkey channel. So he interviewed WSU Mom Kim, and it is a really fascinating interview, but particularly the clip I'm going to show you just goes back to this anomalies before the 911 call that we've talked a lot about on this channel in the past. But the most interesting thing of all the things I'm going to show you right now, which are all basically reactions to the hearing last night, is something I found on Crime Circus. And I just want to know what you think.
I mean, it wasn't, when I asked them in the hearing, did you use the IDG, any of the information of the IDG to get the warrant, to get Mr. Kohberger's DNA, Mr. Kohberger.
Oh my God.
I don't know how you. It wasn't, when I asked them in the hearing, did you use the IDG, any of the information of the IDG to get the warrant, to get Mr. Kohberger's DNA, Mr. Kohberger.
Oh my God.
I don't know how you.
That is interesting. Is it a Freudian slip? I don't know, but it's worth showing. And when I go back through all of the footage today, I'm going to try and find the exact area that he heard that and just make sure there's no altered audio there. I'm going to put the sweatshirt back on. It is so cold in my office. I can't wait for winter to be over. Okay, so let's move on to this drunk turkey clip, which if you haven't seen it, the entire interview, there's value in the whole thing, but this clip is just kind of, it's why we were all interested in WSU Mom Kim in the first place. She just had, one second, let me put a little, so I'm just pulling that up, and this is about a 10-minute clip that we're going to look at. And hopefully,
punish them or target.
Okay, here we go.
Now, when Kim came out on our channel, she explained the stuff that she had heard was stuff that were told to her and from her daughter. Am I correct?
Yes, correct.
Right. That the stuff wasn't coming directly from anybody. She said it multiple times, even right now. I hope I'm wrong. To me, and if you can, I'll unprivate them so you guys can go back and watch them. And to me, everything that she had said was, or at least in my opinion, from what we did on my show, is we only put out the stuff that she was told, right? So you came out and you told us that your daughter had called you, or that you had spoke with her and she said a certain time and this, that, and third. That's the stuff we put out. The other stuff we didn't. Now, is it Kim's fault? Is it your fault, Kim, if you go on another channel and the channel asks you, what do you think happened? And you answer what your thought was. Is it your fault to give your opinion on something when somebody is asking that opinion, or is it the fault of the creator for asking you your opinion and going down that rabbit hole with you? Because that's one thing that we really didn't go with on this
Right.
channel. You know, you spoke about that your daughter got information ahead of
Mm-hmm.
time. You know, the one thing
Right.
that I said, and I said this from the beginning, it's like
Right.
a fish story. You know, one
Out of this whole interview, this is literally the most important thing, is this interaction right here. So this is like almost a 2-hour interview. And this is when he makes his theory on how everyone mixed up what actually happened with this woman's daughter. And she very politely says, no, I didn't mince my words. So let's hear it.
one person catches a, you know,
Right.
a quarter-pound fish, and then
It's 10 pounds.
yeah, but yeah, and then by the time he gets around the block, it's 10-pound fish. And so I said this from the beginning. I said her daughter claims about 10:30. Who knows what time she really woke up? It could have been 11:30. It could have been noon. You know,
Right.
the night before, even, you know, you've said this, that she was, I think, out and about, right?
We were out and about together. Yes. It was parents' weekend. So we were there.
Yeah, and so you know, I don't
Right.
know if after you left, if they've continued to be out and about, maybe
Sure.
consuming, partying with friends or whatnot.
Right.
And so if they went to sleep around 3 or 4, you know, I mean, waking up at 10:30 in the morning is probably uncommon. But, you know, if somebody wakes up around, you know, noon and something happens within the first 10 minutes of them waking up, in my opinion, looking back at it, they might call it the morning. Now,
Okay.
you know, what I had said was, were people called before law enforcement? And the answer was yes. We know that because there were other kids that were out there.
Mhm. Right.
Now, rumor spreads wide. Now, I also say I don't know what time that it actually came out.
Right.
You yourself, I mean, can you tell everybody the exact moment or time that it happened? Do you have any proof of what time it happened?
Okay. So first of all, I'm gonna start here. Everything I say, I hold myself accountable for saying.
Mm-hmm,
I don't lie. I could be
mm-hmm,
wrong. And if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. That's how I feel about this whole situation. I would never lie, and I would never insert myself into a situation. I can say that honestly, on a Bible, on a lie detector test. That's just who I am. I'm not going to lie.
mm-hmm.
So I was with my daughter at 10 a.m. So she was awake at 10 a.m.
Okay.
She did not tell me about it at 10 a.m. because this mom would have brought her ass home, straight home with her brother, would have taken
Right.
both my kids, packed them up, and brought them home. They know their mother.
Right.
So, yes, I believe my daughter knew at 10. I believe they all knew at 10 a.m. I
Okay.
didn't know that the police didn't know at 10 a.m. till the following day when the news came out and said noon, right? Nor did she.
Hmm.
They didn't know either. They figured that obviously the police and parents knew, but
Right.
what she didn't offer the information to me because she didn't want to come home from school. She loved school. That's really truly the information I had. I have more information about who was there in the morning, the roommates or
But
whatever.
that information that you have from who
Yes,
was
I've
there
seen
and who
it.
possibly was
Mhm.
there,
I
it's
have
not
seen it.
coming, it's not coming from Dylan, is it? It's not coming from Bethany. So
It
whoever,
did not come from Dylan or Bethany. No,
okay,
absolutely not.
so whoever it's coming from, it's not from
Right.
the source. So it's just a rumor.
It's a
So
third hand.
how,
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So how much of that rumor is true is unknown, and you know,
Right.
we'll know in court.
Right. Well,
It
no, in court.
sounds like it's pretty much, you know, in my opinion, straightforward as to who was it and when it happened. I think they
Right.
got the right
Right.
guy. But you know, if somebody wants to go down that rumor mill with you, I don't think that's really, you know, your fault for being the person answering the question. I kind of
Right.
fault the other creator or whoever's
Right.
asking the
That's what I
question
said.
to go down that rabbit hole with you, because you know, anybody can do that. You know, I've
Right.
interviewed Christy and we've talked, and I
Right.
could say, hey, what do you think happened?
Right.
And she may not know much more than what I know, and she could say that she thinks it's this, this, and this, and I can still go under that, you know, that that rabbit hole and started going into it and having that conversation. Next thing you know, people are joining the live at the wrong time and not really realizing that it was all speculation and rumor and just people just talking,
Just
and then
talking
turn
about
that into fact. Now,
exactly, Daniel. That is actually exact in hindsight. If I could go back, I would have what I was my purpose in calling other creators when they said my name or said something about me was to correct something they had said about me that was not correct, or something they quoted I said that wasn't correct. In hindsight, I would have just called you and just told you and said, this guy's saying this, and can we correct that? But I
mhm,
didn't know. And being naive is not an excuse. It's not. It
right.
isn't. I needed to be. I'm an adult. I'm an intelligent adult, educated adult. I should have done it better, and I wish I had. But when people asked me what I thought and what I felt, yes, I would go down that rabbit hole with them, not even thinking of the consequences. Because for me, I'm just saying, well, maybe, coulda, woulda. But in hindsight, that was my bad. And
Mhm.
if I can't take it back, if I could, I would, but I can't. So I apologize. And I have apologized and reached out and apologized to the families for things I have misspoken that came out wrong, incorrectly. But
Mhm.
my purpose has never been to be harmful or to be um, to disregard these families or to make these. I look, if these one of my boys brought one of those girls home, I'd be like, ka-ching, we just won the lotto. This girl's a gem.
Mhm.
Honestly, I judge none of them. College is for one-offs. College is to party. College is
Mhm.
to have fun. And they, in my opinion, did nothing wrong.
Right.
That's what I believe wholly and with all my heart. And I feel bad that things have been mistaken and could have hurt people. I truly do. And to do it over, I do it over. I don't know if I'd even go on YouTube.
I just want to, I have to pause for a second because I understand that there were rabbit holes and there were things mentioned on, but I never think that anybody strayed from the primary story here, which is your daughter received a phone call at 10 a.m. and 911 was called at 11:58. So I don't really know what they're referencing as far as like rabbit holes and speculation. She still stands by what she said. And so I have about 4 more minutes. I was planning on showing you this, but after I'm done with that, I'm going to back it up because he tells her, well, he gives her a way out. He gives her an out. He says, maybe your daughter was asleep until noon and she thought it was 10 a.m. when she read it. And then Kim very politely, but she does it so smoothly and quickly. She says, no, I know I picked her up at 10 a.m. She had already received these texts. So let's keep listening and then we'll rewind it.
To be honest. But
Gotcha.
I wanted to keep it out there and I wanted people to know that maybe these kids aren't safe. And I still feel that kids might not be safe still. I can't. And that was my whole message.
Why does she think the kids aren't safe still? Now that's interesting. I mean, she feels the kids aren't safe still. In this interview, she does also talk about thinking they have the right person. So does she think there's an accomplice? Does she think there's a secondary crime going on? I wonder what she means by the kids aren't safe still. The kids, she just, they're going to school there right now, I guess, but
Yeah. No, yeah, and that's kind of what I took away from it as well when we
Yeah.
talked, and like I said, we talked an extensive amount before anything was
Right.
aired. I know that there was one time we may have gone a little bit down the rabbit hole because we're
We
probably
might have
consuming a
gotten
little
a
bit too
fight.
much alcohol, but but
But I still will reach out to you when something goes down.
yeah,
You're the first
yeah,
person I text. You know that.
yeah, yeah. I think that was a show with myself, yourself, and Lena from TNT, and
Oh,
yeah, that
maybe
one
it
ended
was, right?
abruptly. Yeah, that one was a good one.
Right?
But
Right, like
yeah, we went
sorry.
down the rabbit hole in that situation,
Right.
and I realized then too, it was like, hey, I mean, I know we're just, I don't see myself as a detective trying to solve the case. I don't see myself as as somebody who's, um, trying to find the next clue to put somebody away or to prove that somebody is innocent or things like that. I see ourselves as just a podcast, and we get some people who are close to the case. We've had some people who know things about the case. We've had experts on our show and things like that. So I think there's a little bit of a difference, and in that situation, maybe we probably shouldn't have gotten as lit as we did on that one. And
Well,
so,
right. I mean, it was, and you know what? It's being new and learning and growing with this is as a thing. And I actually will say to you that I probably you'll never hear about me after this case. Probably. I hope not. I hope I never have any more information. But I will always text you something. I'll always shoot you something because you are a trustworthy person. I trust you. Honestly, thank goodness that who I was looking for wasn't who I got. Do you know what I
mhm,
mean? I
yeah,
got you. And blue. I love myself some blue. But
yeah, yeah.
I just think that I just I'm not trying to lie to people. I'm not
Right,
you don't have to believe me. I'm just warning parents of kids over there. And that was always my goal and my purpose. And I want to be wrong. I want to not know what I know.
right.
I wish I never knew anything. It was never I don't want to be discovered. Honestly, how long did it take my face to come out? And it's
What do you mean by what do you mean by his normal channel? He has a second channel. I guess I wasn't aware of this. But if you could drop in the chat what his second channel is, so I'm like in the loop about what's going on. But yeah, I mean it doesn't. I don't know if he created a problem, but what he's saying is, I don't know how we went down this rabbit hole. And what I'm saying is there is no rabbit hole. Her whole story is the crazy story. It's not her whole story is the rabbit hole. So let me go back to tell you what I'm saying. I really want you guys to hear this interaction the way I heard it because I listened to this in detail. And I think this first 3 minutes right here just says it all. Here we go.
Beginning. It's like
right.
a fish story. One person catches a
Right.
quarter-pound fish, and then
It's 10 pounds.
and then by the time he gets around the block, it's 10-pound fish. And so I said this from the beginning. I said her daughter claims about 10:30. Who knows what time she really woke up? It could have been 11:30. It could have been noon.
Right.
The night before, even you've said this that she was, I think, out and about, right?
We were out and about together, yes. It was parents' weekend, so we were there.
Yeah, and so I don't
Right.
know if after you left, if they've continued to be out and about, maybe
Sure.
consuming, partying with friends or whatnot.
Right.
And so if they went to sleep around 3 or 4, waking up at 10:30 in the morning is probably uncommon. But if somebody wakes up around noon and something happens within the first 10 minutes of them waking up, in my opinion, looking back at it, they might call it the morning. Now,
Okay.
what I had said was, were people called before law enforcement? And the answer was yes. We know that because there were other kids that were out there.
Right.
Now, rumor spreads wide. Now, I also say I don't know what time that it actually came out.
Right.
You yourself, can you tell everybody the exact moment or time that it happened? Do you have any proof of what time it happened?
Okay. So first of all, I'm gonna start here. Everything I say, I hold myself accountable for saying.
Mhm,
I don't lie. I could be
mhm,
wrong. And if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. That's how I feel about this whole situation. I would never lie and I would never insert myself into a situation. I can say that honestly on a Bible, on a lie detector test. That's just who I am. I'm not going to lie.
mhm.
So I was with my daughter at 10 a.m. So she was awake at 10 a.m.
Okay.
She did not tell me about it at 10 a.m. because this mom would have brought her ass home, straight home with her brother, would have taken
Right.
both my kids, packed them up, and brought them home. They know their mother.
Right.
So, yes, I believe my daughter knew at 10. I believe they all knew at 10 a.m. I
Okay.
didn't know that the police didn't know at 10 a.m. till the following day when the news came out and said noon. right? Nor did she.
Mhm.
They didn't know either. They figured that obviously the police and parents knew, but
Right.
what she didn't offer the information to me because she didn't want to come home from school. She loved school. That's really truly the information I had. I have more information about who was there in the morning, the roommates or
But
whatever.
that information that you have from who
Yes,
was
I've
there
seen
and
it.
who possibly was
Mhm.
there,
I have seen it.
it's not coming from Dylan, is it? It's not coming from Bethany. So
It
whoever
did not come
From
from
her
Dylan or
daughter.
Bethany. No,
okay,
absolutely not.
so whoever it's coming from, it's not from
Right.
the source. So it's just a rumor.
It's a
So
third hand.
how
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So how much of that rumor is true is unknown, and
Right.
we'll know in court.
Right. Well,
It
no, it's
sounds like it's pretty much, in my opinion, straightforward as to who was it and when it happened. I think they
right.
got the right
Right.
guy. But if somebody wants to go down that rumor mill with you, I don't think that's really your fault for being the person answering the question.
Okay, I think the problem is that people are sensing there's a secondary something else going on, and whether it was like what everyone is suggesting, that there was something there that they wanted to hide before police came, allegedly. I think people are sensing it. And although the police told all the children involved that they don't care what activities they were at, give us all your data, give us your phones, give us your pictures from that night. You're not going to get in trouble. We're not after you. We're after this killer. Still, I mean, I think people want to know the whole picture. And if there was a crime, which they got some sort of immunity for to show them their evidence, I mean, I think transparency is the best reason. Nobody can quite understand why, if people were there at 10 a.m., which is somebody showing her face on the record now saying that this happened, why was there a 2-hour time delay before 911 was called? So I think we just want to know. And I don't know if it has anything to do with the primary crime or whatever, but if you want to stop speculation and people making conspiracies, then you have to be transparent. And thank you all for being here in the live chat. I'll keep going. And then I have a really great video to show you after this.
I kind of
Right.
fault the other creator or whoever's asking the question to go down that rabbit hole with you, because anybody can do that.
Oh, I think no. And I said, but it's Olivia. And so we discussed it and he said, okay. So then I agreed to do it, but I vacillated. I'm not going to lie. Up until the moment I did it, I wasn't sure I was going to do it. Neither were they. And I didn't get paid for it. I actually spoke to an attorney about it. And they did pay for they didn't want me to drive over. They wanted me to fly over, which probably was smarter. They paid for my accommodations,
I don't know. All I know is this interview, she basically said she doesn't take back what she said. She still picked her daughter up around 10 a.m. and her daughter had already known about the crime. So, and she's a WSU mom too. She's not from University of Idaho, which makes it which is something that Dave, the caller, pointed out, because he said that the reason he called in was because he was prompted by WSU Mom Kim. And I'll show Dave's phone call after this, because it's hard to imagine that somebody faking that phone call. It comes across like somebody speaking naturally, although I've met some incredible con artists in my lifetime. So she's not changing her story. I don't know what to say. So I don't know who JD is, but I hope that answers your question. Sorry. I think she at first was debunking it, but she is all over the place. So I don't know either. So yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good answer too, Nevada Naps. But she does very clearly state at this one clip from the 30-minute mark, because I marked it before I came on air with you, from the 30-minute mark to the 33-minute mark in this live stream, he tries to give her an out and basically say, oh, you must have misunderstood the situation. That's not really what happened, right, Kim? I'm paraphrasing, of course. And then she says, no, it's even further than that. I didn't just call her. I picked her up, physically picked her up, and she already knew about these things at 10 a.m. She does. Oh, they do speak about Jack D in this interview. I didn't know that's who you were referencing, but I believe she was saying she was trying to divert all blame from it. I don't know what mark that's at. It has to be before, because they start talking about his other charities, like right around the 35 mark. So I think we'll play it for about 5
When
minutes.
somebody is asking that opinion, or is it the fault of the creator for asking you your opinion and going down that rabbit hole with you? Because that's one thing that we really didn't go with on this
Right.
channel. You spoke about that your daughter got information ahead of time. The one thing
Right.
that I said, and I said this from the beginning, it's like
Right.
a fish story. One person catches a
Right.
quarter-pound fish, and then
It's 10 pounds.
and then by the time it gets around the block, it's 10-pound fish. And so I said this from the beginning. I said her daughter claims about 10:30. Who knows what time she really woke up? It could have been 11.
So this part I did not know. I guess I didn't understand this part of the story. So what Nevada Naps is saying, hold on, who follows this case very closely. So for you folks watching, Nevada Naps says, yes, at first she did say his alibi was her daughter, but she never seen him there. I did not know that. And I'm wondering if maybe that's what they're referencing about going down the rabbit hole. But either way, I think the story was always the same. She's one person who's gone on the record that says, I don't understand why 911 wasn't called for 2 hours after my daughter knew about this. I mean, it's speculated. It's not just, I'm going to back up. I know a third party who actually said it, allegedly. I haven't read it with my own eyes, but commenters who have read President Scott Green's new book on how to survive a tragedy at a school, he even says that morning he knew. And another speculation and complete alleged rumors, just Reddit stuff. I've heard Scott Green was actually part of that crowd of 20 people gathered at the house. Again, this isn't implicating anyone in a crime. It's just saying, why are we being gaslit? Like, what happened? What happened before they called 911? Oh. All right, let's go. Let's keep going. I'm sorry I keep talking, you guys.
11:30, could have been noon. The night before, even, you've said this, that she was, I think, out and about, right?
We were out and about together, yes. It was parents' weekend, so we were there.
Yeah, and so, I don't know if after you left, if they've continued to be out and about, maybe consuming, partying with friends or whatnot.
Right.
And so, if they went to sleep around 3 or 4, waking up at 10:30 in the morning is probably uncommon. But, if somebody wakes up around, noon and something happens within the first 10 minutes of them waking up, in my opinion, looking back at it, they might call it the morning. Now, what I had said was, were people called before law enforcement? And the answer was yes. We know that because there were other kids that were out there.
Right.
Now, rumor spreads wide. Now, I also say I don't know what time that it actually came out. Right. You yourself, can you tell everybody the exact moment or time that it happened? Do you have any proof of what time it happened?
So first of all, I'm going to start here. Everything I say, I hold myself accountable for saying. I don't lie. I could be wrong. And if I'm wrong, I hope I'm wrong. That's how I feel about this whole situation. I would never lie, and I would never insert myself into a situation. I can say that honestly, on a Bible, on a lie detector test. That's just who I am. I'm not going to lie. So I was with my daughter at 10 a.m. So she was awake at 10 a.m.
Okay.
She did not tell me about it at 10 a.m. because this mom would have brought her ass home, straight home with her brother, but taken both my kids, packed them up, and brought them home. They know their mother. So yes, I believe my daughter knew at 10. I believe they all knew at 10 a.m. I
Okay.
didn't know that the police didn't know at 10 a.m. till the following day when the news came out and said noon, right? Nor did she.
Mhm.
They didn't know either. They figured that obviously the police and parents knew, but
Right.
what she didn't offer the information to me because she didn't want to come home from school. She loved school. That's really, truly the information I had. I have more information about who was there in the morning, the roommates or
But
whatever.
that information that you have from who
Yes,
was
I've
there and
seen
who
it.
possibly was
Mhm.
there,
I
it's
have
not
seen it.
coming. It's not coming from Dylan, is it? It's not coming from Bethany. So
It
whoever.
did not come from Dylan or Bethany. No,
Okay.
absolutely not.
So whoever it's coming from, it's not from
Right.
the source. So it's just a rumor.
It's a
So
third hand,
how?
right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So how much of that rumor is true is unknown, and
Right.
we'll know in court.
Right. Well,
It
no,
sounds like it's pretty much, in my opinion, straightforward as to who was it and when it happened. I think they
right.
got the right
Right.
guy. But if somebody wants to go down that rumor mill with you, I don't think that's really your fault for being the person answering the question. I kind of
Right.
fault the other creator or whoever's
Oh,
asking the
that's
question
nice of
to go down that rabbit hole with you, because anybody can do that.
Right.
I've interviewed Christy and we've talked, and I could say, hey, what do you think happened?
Right.
And she may not know much more than what I know, and she could say that she thinks it's this and this, and I can still go under that that rabbit hole and start going into it and having that conversation. Next thing you know, people are joining the live at the wrong time and not really realizing that it was all speculation and rumor and just people.
Okay, that's overthinking it a little bit. I'm going to go back to where I was originally going to show you. We're going to listen to 5 minutes from here because I think this is of value to you. And then we're going to get on some, we're going to switch topics.
Well, it was before Memorial Day. It was after the kids graduated. So it would have been early May, I think.
So they came out to you, they told you about this,
They
docuseries
approached me probably in March or
in
February.
March.
And then we shot in sometime in May. It was the week before Father's Day when so that would have been June.
Where'd they fly you
The
out
week
to?
before Father's Day. Moscow. I was in Moscow.
Oh, they flew you out there to Moscow.
They flew me to I flew to Spokane and then met Olivia, and Olivia and I drove to she dropped me in Pullman, where I stayed in Pullman alone, and she and her mother went to somewhere in Moscow, and then the guards or the people drivers whatever picked me up in Pullman and took me to Moscow for the shooting, and then I went back to Pullman and my husband met me. Is
And
what happened.
So they flew you out there.
Mhm.
They told you that the goal was to get other people to come forward and
Mhm.
to speak about what they knew as well.
Mhm.
And you met with Olivia. How many
Mhm.
people were there? Like, was it a team? Was it just one person?
It was so the woman who did her name is Lucy. She did the doctor who impregnated all of the women for a fertility clinic.
Uh-huh.
That's who I don't know her last name, but she did a series or a television. When you're done shooting, I want an opportunity to come back and say and answer anything that people have to say, because often people get things I say wrong or twisted or whatever, or I say it incorrectly. I don't hold myself harmless, but I just want to make sure that everything's clear that I'm saying. And I said, and it's not a hit piece on YouTube. And she said to me, why YouTube? And I said, because I went to mainstream media and they wanted me to say what they wanted me to say, and they gave me a script. So I went on and I said exactly what I wanted to say and avoided their script. And actually, they have called me back to go on. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to say what you want me to say. I'm going to say what I know to be true. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But I'm not going to. But you guys, so they told me it wasn't a hit piece. I don't know that it was a hit piece on YouTube. I think that's coming. But I will tell you, I will stand up before everybody and say, that is not what I said. There's several creators that I feel I was unjustly served by, and I'll deal with
Mhm.
them. But I'm not going to take down YouTube, because YouTube, you can get to people. You know, people.
Well,
You have an audience.
right. Well, without saying any names of who these YouTubers were, what exactly did they do?
Yeah.
They doxed me, but they doxed me saying that there was this other woman who was me. They put my picture up there with this other woman and claimed she was I, and sent people to her house.
And did you know who this person was?
I had no idea who she was. No idea. And I don't think she had any idea what was coming. And it was the night before we shot the Paramount Plus thing,
Mhm.
which explains the bags under my eyes, hopefully.
Got you. Understood. Yeah, I think I remember hearing about something like that. That some people were.
They were, yeah, they sent them to my house. And then I thought, well, maybe that person lived in my home before I did. Maybe they were the old owners, maybe two, you know what I mean, 2 owners
Mhm.
ago. And my family is sitting in this home. So my husband and I sent our children away from their homes elsewhere. And that's why my husband came to me, because it was really scary. I trusted this YouTuber first, and I actually asked you if you were one of these people specifically in the beginning.
Right. No, I recall.
And right. And thank God I got you and not him, because they honestly sent people to harm my family and myself.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. They're sending people, even though it wasn't you, but they're sending
Right.
people somewhere. The attempt
Yeah.
is to harm you.
You guys, I think I know who they're talking about. And if you can in the live chat, just drop the YouTuber's name. I don't want to, if they're not saying the name and she doesn't feel like she needs to say their name out loud, I certainly don't want to, but I have heard that this one particular channel is quite like a stalker to people involved in this case. And what she's describing is like so incredibly frightening. It's just so scary, like just for her to come out and speak the truth. I mean, regardless of what the intentions are, as a human, if you see somebody breaking into your home or showing up at your home, that's your sanctuary. Like that's you have a fear of God put into you. So I don't know what's going on, but I would like to know who did that to her.
And
Yeah, to cause
that's not
harm,
good.
right?
Yeah, that's
That's
not.
not good. And this poor woman who has no idea. I mean, honestly, I felt responsible for her.
Mhm.
That's not
Yeah.
okay.
No, no, it ain't. And so that
Right?
happened the day before.
Mhm.
Where? So did you take the interview in a hotel? Where was the interview at?
It was on Greek. It was in the Greek live outs in Moscow.
Got you. And was it just one location that you filmed, or was there other multiple places
Just
that you
one.
filmed
It
that they
was
just
just
didn't
one.
air?
It was just one, and it was maybe 2 hours, and that was it. And I was done.
Got you.
And I did know. I thought this. So, I mean, I'm not like, you can put one and one together, and if it doesn't make two, right? You're like, what's going on? So I was concerned that they were going to do a hit piece, which is why I said to them, I want you to conclude everything I said about you guys, the YouTubers that I trust in this, because
Well,
it's not fair not to.
right. Well, I'll give you a little tidbit. I emailed them
Mm.
to not use me. I had a
Oh,
feeling,
you
and
did.
yeah, I thought I had told you. I swore I told you that. I'd be
Oh, maybe
careful
you
with
did.
it.
I don't know.
Yeah. I was like, hey,
I
I wouldn't do it. I don't want to be in it. I don't want my name coming
uh,
out in it. I don't want anything to do with anything from any other mainstream media
mhm,
or large network. After the last two times,
mhm,
where they manipulated what myself or Big Blue had said, and
right.
completely threw us under the bus for something that we didn't talk about. For those that aren't aware, the Washington Post and Dateline kind
Mhm.
of gave us the
They
the
really
runaround.
did.
Yeah, they told us
And I
they
will
wanted
tell
to.
you,
Oh, go ahead.
I was appalled, but I thought that is actually not who they are. Like, who they are. It's not who you are. right? It's not even, you'll say to me, no, Kim, I think you're wrong publicly. And I'll be like, but maybe, and we'll discuss it, right?
Mhm.
You're not that guy that's like, they're trying to, what they're trying to do, I think, is promote mainstream media and say YouTube is the problem or whatever.
Right.
Social media is the problem.
Right. Well,
That's not fair.
right. What they're saying is, and what they were showing as well, from what I could take, was that there are a lot of misinterpretations
Mhm.
of some of the information that is out there. Like, for instance,
Yeah.
I saw in one part of the show where it stated that um, that due to a forensic download of Dylan and Bethany's phones was one of the reasons why they were able to determine what time that the murders had taken place. And one of the influencers said, "Oh, they're texting each other," and I'm like, "That's not what it says. It says a forensic
Yeah.
download." You know, what that forensic download could be, or could be notifying him, is something as simple as
Right.
if Dylan woke up and heard some noise, and she checked her phone to see what time it was, and it activated from being, laying on its back, not doing anything, to now it's up forward and it's being turned on, and there's a specific time there, right? So
Right.
um,
Right.
it was a little bit of some jumps to conclusions, and they were kind of putting
Mhm.
those things out there, and highlighting more so the negative aspect of online, sleuthing and stuff like that.
Right.
However, you don't ever see when they get things wrong, right? Like, because
Right.
I saw, it was a News Nation when there was some lady claiming to be in the cell right across the hall from BK, and she
Yeah.
came out on News Nation saying that he was yelling, "I'm gonna cut you and I'm gonna do this," and it came out to be 100%
100%
nonsense,
untrue. Correct.
you
100%
know.
nonsense.
And so they
All of it,
try to,
right?
yeah, they try to portray, YouTubers and or content creators or anybody who wants to talk about the case as people
Right.
that are just going off the deep end. And when it's, yeah, some of it is
Okay, so I'm gonna pause here. I think I do. Gia just texted me if I had a link to. We were asking. I'm going to bring up this question. Sorry for the little weird typo at the end, but I'm not convinced that the leaked text messages of Steve's from Howard Blum are real, and I want to know what you folks think. And I was replying to Gia, who asked me if I had the text, and I said yes, because like many other things, Jeff H, the guitarist, if you haven't visited his channel, visit them. He sent them to me. He emailed them to me, and I'll forward them to you, Gia. I have them in a video format. So if I have a chance to edit it and maybe put it into something nice, I'll try presenting it to the channel. Okay, wait, I'm going to stop. We were having a little private chat in there. I don't want to show anybody's private thoughts on what we were talking about. So I'm going to bring up, hey, my hair is so freaking curly today. Sorry. So I thought this would be really, I was watching through this. This is another long video, but the very last, like, I don't know, 3 minutes of this, he's answering questions from the audience and they were pretty good. So I think I have the right timestamp here. There was another blurb right before he starts too that was interesting. And let me just look again. Yeah, we'll start it right there.
And that's why that is established as a law. Okay. Well, I think we've gotten somewhere.
A little bit.
And is there anything else we need to address today, Mr. Thompson?
I don't believe so, Judge. Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Taylor?
No, you are. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you all. We are here.
All right. And that's the hearing. And I'm going to be quick here at the end because it's bothering me to see how the unstable internet is hitting the stream. Did he have his phone turned on that night? If not, why not? Should something at trial, yes, it'll come up that he did have his phone off. I believe at least that's going to be the evidence. Gringa, does it seem like the defense has some ace in the hole they're fleshing out? A lot of times it seems like that with the defense, civil defense and criminal defense sometimes, and then they don't end up having it. If they do, I'm sure we'll see it at trial. And
I have to always bring up this point with the cell phone because had this debate several different times and started several different creators. And it's always, was his cell phone off? Did he leave his cell phone? Was it in airplane mode? But everybody has to remember the third option, which somebody who's a little bit younger might choose, which is the tech savvy thing to do, which is to take that phone that is on, that is still operating, the gyroscopes and the magnetometer is still working, place it inside something like a token pouch that blocks the signal. So the cell phone is still moving and active, but it's saying it doesn't have a signal. Now, why would that be important? Because Moscow, Idaho has a really, 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 really strong signal. So if allegedly, according to Get a Clue, if BK was in the area, he should have had full service. So if he doesn't have full service, that means he wasn't in the area. That's why it's important to say there's this fourth option, which is using the new modern way of blocking your signal, which is putting it in a signal blocking pouch, not putting it in the airplane, not turning it off, not, trying to do some old fashioned hoax with it, leaving the playlist on YouTube while you go do something, which really wouldn't work because you move a certain way that so much so that your phone actually has an imprint of you, more accurate than your own fingerprint. The way that you hold your phone when you move around is very, very, very unique. And so when you have a token pouch, you can still prove that the phone was moving, that you were present, but something's fishy with the signal. So I have to add that whenever anyone talks about the phone being off. Sorry to interrupt, Peter.
And Missy M says, does the judge have all the discovery? No. And at this point, it seems like the state doesn't even have all the discovery because the FBI hasn't turned it over to them. All right. I appreciate you guys so much for sticking with me through the annoyances and the frustrations and the freezes. Hopefully we get this figured out. I'm canceling this internet tonight. Going to get a new one as soon as they can come in. And hopefully that works out. Hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Until next time, I'm out of here. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit the thumbs up and share with your friends.
Okay, so those were the things that I really saw that I wanted to show you today for reaction. I mean, we have all the normal reactions on TV. I mean, on YouTube, we have all the normal reactions, but these were the more like really fascinating reactions that I was seeing on the internet. So I thought I'd show them to you today. That WSU Kim, I'll be processing for a while and seeing how I can give you some valuable information out of it or what I can compare it to. And there is something I want to show you before I leave you, which is a video I produced and I just put out this morning. I think this is a really fascinating video. Let me bring it up while I'm talking about it. Hey, full screen. All right, let's go back here. And it's this one right here. It's called Poppa Rogers Posts and Comments. Is this Bryan Kohberger? So I'm going to pause this right here. I wanted to give you guys this piece of information for you to have for yourself, simply for the fact that we can talk about Poppa Rogers. I can show you a clip that I think is creepy or suspect by Poppa Rogers, but there's no way to understand why people are so suspicious of him unless you actually read the texts for yourself. When you read these texts, the person who filmed this, I linked her channel in the description. She clicks on the comments and reads down the responses, and there's something there's like a nuance you can't explain. These commenters are like, you are so suspicious. Why are you talking like that? And why that matters is, I mean, on my YouTube channel, I get some really, really, like, I guess you could say, conspiracy texts, or I get some really controversial texts that could be considered conspiracies. But at no point does anyone, and people debate and they fight back and forth. But one thing I've never seen is somebody turn around and say, you're really creepy. You sound like a killer. That just doesn't happen. Even in like the most heated text comment fights I've seen, that I've shut down on my channel. And it's weird because in this actual post, so many people said, dude, you're creepy. You're the killer. Another person said, I just screenshot you and I'm sending a picture to my mom and I think she's going to report you to the FBI. So I just encourage you to read these text messages. I would actually read them to you. I just don't know. I don't want to bore you guys to death, but I just feel this is really important. So I'm going to leave you with this video. Please check it out on my channel. One thing I never noticed until I was like going over these again this morning is the I have suspect of a lot of these posts, but one of them that was really interesting, which again kind of gave me chills this morning when I was reading, is the interaction when he starts saying, let's guess the height and weight of the perpetrator. And the people were like, well, what does that matter? And it was just his responses to them, but it almost just felt like he was trying to talk about himself in a way, or maybe talk about his physique, the author. So that's why people thought that it could be the unaliver. And Gia, that's the other thing, is when we sit here and we talk about people like Brent, about Kopacka and stuff like that, and we wonder if there'd be an accomplice. That's another thing to think about when we think about Josco and Poppa Rogers and a few of the other people that interjected themselves early on, the dance sneaker guy and stuff. I think this is the one where the girl said she's going to report him to her mom. I literally screenshot this profile and sent it to my mom saying, I think this is the killer. So sick. I wish I would have reported it. And then it says, Madison, always listen to your gut, girl. Also, check out all of his questions and answers, and that he likes, almost like he likes the correct. Ugh.
Son of a Colorado congressman.
Okay, so that is it for my live stream this morning. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a blessed day and a blessed weekend. And I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments section. And I know you can be anywhere on this morning, so I'm glad that you chose to be here with me. Thank you, and I hope you have a good day.